I was reading this guide this morning that's a director's manual for AI filmmaking, just out this week, January 2026. And it opens with this analogy that, honestly, it made me just put my tablet down.
I think I know exactly which one you mean. The genius child.
Genius child.
Yeah.
It's such a powerful image.
Yeah.
The whole idea is that AI isn't a robot. It's not really a tool. It's a prodigy. It has this infinite imagination, but absolutely no discipline.
Right. Zero impulse control. You leave it alone in a room without clear instructions, and it just, draws on the walls. It makes total chaos.
Welcome to the Deep Dive. Today we're exploring the state of cinematic AI filmmaking. It's early 2026, and we're trying to figure out why so much of the AI video we all see still feels a little off.
Yeah, a little floaty.
Exactly. We have these incredible tools now, Kling AI, Google VO3, but the output is so often this shimmering, morphing mess. And then every once in a while you see a clip that looks like it was shot on a professional camera.
Yeah, it has real weight to it. It has intention.
Yeah. And the premise we're unpacking today is that the difference isn't the software, it's the direction. So we're going to dig into the crafts. We'll talk about the physics of lenses, the virtual actor workflow, and the tool landscape right now in 2026.
We're going to go from just typing a cool robot into a box to actually directing a scene that feels, human.
Let's start with the very first principle in this guide. It's something that feels completely counterintuitive for video. The guide says if you want your video to look professional, the first thing to do is stop moving the camera.
The power of stillness.
But why? I mean, we're making moving pictures. Why would I lock the camera down?
It is the absolute hardest thing for beginners to accept. You pay your subscription to Kling or VO, and your first instinct is, I paid for motion, I want the camera flying through a city.
More is always more.
But it's usually just too much. It gives you that kind of seasick feeling. If you think about the greatest films like No Country for Old Men or The Godfather, the most powerful shots are often totally locked off. The camera's on a tripod. It doesn't move at all.
Because it forces you to actually look at the subject.
Precisely. The guide uses this beautiful example of a portrait of an old fisherman. If you tell an AI model, make a cool video of a fisherman, it's probably going to have him waving, or the camera will do this crazy swoop around his head. It looks like a video game.
It feels weightless.
Right. But the professional approach is to lock the camera. You specify a 50mm lens, maybe an f1.8 aperture to get that nice blurry background, and you focus on the micro movements.
What do we mean by micro movements exactly?
It's the little stuff that proves something is alive. The smoke curling up from his pipe, the slow, heavy blink of his eyes, the mist floating in the harbor behind him. You see the texture of the wrinkles on his face. When the camera is still, the viewer isn't just distracted by a big whoosh. They have to connect with the person.
So why do we equate motion with quality when stillness often holds the emotion?
Because stillness forces us to confront the character's humanity.
Okay, so stillness is the foundation. But movies do move, obviously. So the guide moves on to directing the eye, and it brings up a technique called rack focus. I know what that looks like, but how do you translate that to a prompt?
So rack focus is basically the director pointing and saying, look here. Okay, now look there. You're just shifting the sharpness from the foreground to the background. And in AI, that's a huge flex because it implies real 3D depth.
Can you give us the visual from the guide?
Yeah, so picture a jazz bar. Moody, kind of noir vibe. In the front, you've got a glass of whiskey. The ice is melting. It's perfectly sharp. In the background, all blurry, there's a woman in a red dress looking out a window.
A classic noir setup.
Total classic. But the movement isn't the camera flying at her. The movement is the lens itself changing focus. You tell Kling AI to rack focus to background. The glass goes blurry, and suddenly the woman is sharp. It creates a story with no dialogue at all. Here's the drink, and there she is, leaving.
So is the camera merely recording, or is it acting as a narrator?
It's a narrator physically pointing at what matters most.
This idea of control brings us to what might be the biggest frustration with AI video. I think everyone listening has felt this. You generate a character, say a cyberpunk mercenary. She looks great in shot 1. You generate shot 2, and suddenly she has a different nose or her hair is shorter.
Oh, the identity drift. It just breaks the illusion instantly.
Right. The face changes, and the audience is gone. The guide says we've been doing this all backward. We're usually trying to generate the character inside the video tool.
Which is a huge mistake. The video generator is already trying to calculate motion and lighting and physics. It's just too much for the genius child to handle. You need a virtual actor.
And this is where that specific tool comes in. Nano Banana.
I know, the names in 2026 are just ridiculous, but Nano Banana is kind of the industry standard right now for good reason.
Yeah.
It listens better. The strategy is you don't start with a video, you start with a character sheet.
Like a casting photo.
Exactly like a casting photo. You go into Nano Banana, not Kling, not VO, and you create one master image. Front view, full body. Let's stick with that cyberpunk mercenary. Silver hair, purple streaks, jacket with neon circuits. You get that image perfect.
And then you take that image somewhere else.
Then and only then do you go to your video tool. You upload that image and you say, this is my reference, do not change her. You're anchoring her identity.
Does creating a static soul for the character make the AI-generated movement more believable?
Yes, because consistency creates the illusion of a continuous life.
Okay, character locked. Focus directed. Now we actually need to move the camera. The guide makes this huge distinction between zoom and dolly. They might sound the same, but they feel completely different, don't they?
Oh, completely different physics. A zoom is just optical. You're making the image bigger. It kind of flattens everything. A dolly is when you physically move the camera body through the space.
So you're actually walking forward.
You're walking forward. And because the camera itself is moving, the relationship between the foreground and background changes. That's what our brains read as real.
The guide also mentions the vertigo effect, the dolly zoom, that classic Hitchcock shot.
The Jaws shot. It's when you dolly the camera backwards while you zoom the lens in.
That sounds incredibly complicated.
It looks like a headache. It creates this warping effect. If you do it on a character in an alley, they stay the same size, but the background behind them just stretches and gets all weird. It's instant anxiety.
How does the physics of the camera lens manipulate the viewer's psychological state?
It changes our spatial relationship to the subject, creating unease or closeness.
It's just wild that we have to explain these physical ideas to a digital brain. We have to simulate the glass.
We do, and that also applies to moving sideways. The guide brings up pan versus truck.
Trucking, another one of those industrial-sounding terms.
Well, it comes from putting the camera on a truck or a track. A pan is just standing still and turning your head, left, right. The problem is, in AI video, that often makes the background look like flat wallpaper.
Right, there's no depth.
And trucking fixes that. Trucking is sliding the camera sideways. Imagine you're running right alongside a horse.
Okay, I'm thinking of the example from the guide, the samurai, riding through a bamboo forest.
Perfect example. If you pan that scene, it looks flat. But if you truck right, moving parallel to the horse, you get the parallax effect.
Parallax, can you break that down?
It's simple physics, really. The things that are close to the camera seem to move fast. So the bamboo trees in the foreground are just whizzing by, all blurred out. But the mountains way in the background are moving really slowly. That difference in speed tells your brain, okay, this is a 3D world, this is real.
Why is the parallax effect the dividing line between amateur and professional visuals?
It proves the scene exists in 3 dimensions, not just 2.
I want to touch on something that usually just destroys AI video, even if you're trucking correctly. Complex actions, we've all seen it. Someone tried to generate a guy jumping off a cliff, and halfway down his legs turn into spaghetti.
The hallucination phase, yeah. The AI just loses track of anatomy.
So how do you direct something that complex?
The guide suggests a multi-frame strategy. It's brilliant because it stops treating the AI like a magician and starts treating it like an animator. Instead of just saying, man jumps off cliff, which is way too vague, you give it guardrails.
A starting point and an end point.
Exactly.
Yeah.
You generate keyframe A, the man standing on the edge. Then you generate keyframe B, the man mid-dive, arms spread out, jacket flapping in the wind. You feed both of those images into the video generator.
And the AI just fills in the middle.
It interpolates the path. But because it knows where it has to end up, it doesn't get lost. It calculates the gravity of the flapping jacket, all of it. It's connecting the dots instead of just guessing where to go.
So are we directing the AI, or are we simply setting boundaries to contain its hallucinations?
We're building guardrails so its imagination doesn't break physics.
Speaking of boundaries, there's one more glitch in the guide that I found both hilarious and kind of terrifying. The second face problem.
Oh, the nightmare fuel.
When the camera does an orbit shot, it circles around a character, and when it gets to their back, there's another face on the back of their head.
It happens because the AI gets confused. It just knows character equals face. So when it runs out of face to show, it panics and just puts another one on the back of their skull.
How on earth do you stop that?
You need landmarks. You have to give the AI something specific to look at on the character's back. The example is a wizard on a mountain. If you just say, orbit the wizard, you might get the second face. But if you specify, the wizard wears a cape with a golden dragon emblem on the back, now the AI has a mission.
It has a target.
Right. It thinks, okay, I'm circling, I need to find that dragon emblem. It anchors the whole image on that object, not the anatomy.
That's such a clever workaround.
You're just guiding its attention so it doesn't have to guess.
I want to take a quick pause here. We've been talking about the how, the trucking, the landmarks, the static shots, but in a moment, I want to shift to the what. The actual tools available to us in 2026, because the landscape has really changed. We're back. We're deep diving into cinematic AI filmmaking in January 2026. We've covered the techniques, but let's get practical. There are a million tools out there. Subscription fatigue is a real thing. I don't want to pay for 5 different services if I don't have to.
It's very real, and the guide is pretty blunt about this. The era of the generalist AI is kind of fading.
So the one app to do it all dream is over.
For high-end work, yeah. We have a specialized tool chain now. Just like a real film crew has different departments, you need different AIs for different jobs. The guide breaks down 4 main players.
Okay, let's run through them. We've already mentioned the first one, Nano Banana.
The foundation, it's on the OpenArt platform. This is not for making video. It is purely for creating your source images, your actors. Its whole superpower is realistic skin and just listening to your prompt. If you skip this step, your virtual actor will look like plastic.
Garbage in, garbage out.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Okay, next up is the budget king, Google Veo 3.
Veo 3, that's the landscape engine.
Yeah, it's amazing for B-roll. 4K landscapes, drone shots, establishing shots of forests. It understands physics really well, and, it's usually free or very low cost.
Right.
But it struggles with complex human acting. It's a little stiff, so you use it for the world, not for the people in it.
Okay, so for the people, for the acting, where do we go?
You go to the storyteller, Kling AI. This is the paid tool, the heavy hitter. It's the king of movement. When you type truck right or dolly in, Kling actually knows what those words mean physically. It's for the serious filmmaker.
And the last one sounds a bit chaotic.
Yeah.
Seedance 1.5 Pro.
The action star.
Mm-hmm.
This thing is huge on TikTok for anime styles. If you want explosions, magic spells, fast cuts, wild stuff, Seedance is your tool. It's just pure high energy.
But you probably wouldn't use it for our old fisherman portrait.
Oh, God, no. If you ask Seedance for a fisherman smoking a pipe, the pipe would probably turn into a dragon and just fly away.
Yeah.
It makes ADHD video. It's too caffeinated for real emotion.
So does the specialization of these tools suggest we're moving away from all-in-one AI models?
Absolutely. Specialized tools are now required for specific cinematic tasks.
That brings us to the final lesson from the guide, the golden rule. We touched on it, but it's really about the language we use.
The mega prompt.
Right. The days of typing a girl walking are just over. That gets you nowhere now.
If you type a girl walking, you get the average of every video on the internet, which is boring. The guide gives us a specific formula. The prompt is now your script, your set design, your lighting crew, all of it.
Now, what's the formula?
It's movement type, plus a detailed subject, plus the environment, plus camera gear, plus lighting.
Give us an example. The bad version versus the good version.
Okay. Bad version. Cyberpunk girl walking in rain.
And that gets you.
A generic, kind of boring cartoon. Now, the good version. Tracking shot, camera trucks right. A cyberpunk girl with neon glowing skin walking through a rainy alleyway. Reflections on wet pavement. Transparent plastic coat. Shot on Sony Venice 2, 35mm prime lens, f1.4 aperture, teal and orange palette.
Wow. You're literally specifying the aperture, f1.4.
You have to. Telling the AI f1.4 is code for, I want a really blurry background and a sharp subject. If you don't say that, it defaults to a flat image where everything is in focus, like a cheap TV show. AI always guesses boring unless you force it to be interesting.
Is the role of the director shifting from managing people to managing language?
Yes, the prompt is now the script, the set, and the crew.
I still kind of wrestle with that idea myself, that the words themselves are the lens. But let's bring this all back. We started with the genius child. We moved through stillness, depth, consistency. What's the big takeaway for someone who's about to open their laptop and try this?
The big idea is just intentionality. Stop letting the AI drive. There is no make cool movie button. 1, start with a static shot. Master stillness first. 2, use physical camera terms like truck and dolly to create that 3D space. And 3, lock your character's identity with a reference image.
It's really about craftsmanship. Even in this automated world, craft still matters.
Maybe more than ever. Because when everyone can generate a video, the only thing that's going to stand out is taste. Can you tell a good story?
Taste is the differentiator. I like that.
And so here's my challenge for everyone listening. Open Nano Banana. Open whatever tool you use. Don't try to make an epic battle. Try to make that fisherman. Try to make a portrait that's perfectly still, except for one tiny thing, a puff of smoke, a blink. Just master the stillness first.
That's a great place to start. And I'll add one final thought from the guide that I found really comforting. It said, don't feel bad if your first videos are not perfect.
Amen to that.
It's 2026. This tech is moving so fast, but it is still an art form. And you have to be vulnerable enough to make bad art before you can make good art.
The first draft of anything is garbage. Just keep prompting.
Thanks for diving in with us today. Go direct some masterpieces. We'll see you in the next one.
Bye.